Communism?
Karl Marx theory. Marx's view of history to Marx. All of history was a struggle between social classes competing for control of productive property. One class was the oppressors, and the other were the oppressed. The labor theory of value, Marx rejected the free enterprise idea of profit and competition. In his view, the value of commodity was set by the amount of labor put into it. The nature of the state, Marx saw the state and its government as tools by which the capitalists retain their order and privileges. The dictatorship of the proletariat. Marx did not believe a free classes society would initially be formed, but rather in the transition an authoritarian state would represent and enforce the interests of the masses.
So what do you think about that idea of the value of labor? Do you think, I mean, are you okay with a free market system where people are discriminated against based off their economic value or perceived economic value by the market? Or are you for an equalization of salary?
Well, if there was like no examples of equalization, I would say equalization. However, there was an example of a failed attempt at equalization, which was like one would be the Soviet Union. So right now, I would say based on like what you have to offer. However, it feels like 1800s, like when like communism was starting to be an idea. I would say equalization.
Okay, so you feel that people shouldn't be discriminated against based economically on their wages?
Yeah.
Darren, you feel differently
No, I
about
feel the
that?
same way towards that.
Same way.
You feel everyone should be paid the same too?
Yeah.
No.
Isaiah, what's your thought?
That you should be able to earn as much as you work for. Like in communist societies or whatever, it all sounds good, but it's really not. Because everyone's like doing different jobs or whatever, but someone's working harder than others, but they're getting paid the same as much as someone, like cheap labor.
Well, what if they worked the exact same number of hours? Would you still be for discrimination on salary?
They work the same number of hours.
Same number of hours?
Well, if they're doing different jobs.
Yeah, and they're doing different jobs. Would you be still for the equalization of salary, or would you be okay with discrimination?
Discrimination.
Yeah. How about the rest of you? Would you? It sounds like these three are united. They like the idea of equalization of salary, but Isaiah was okay with discriminating on salary.
Well, discriminating is kind of a hard word. This is why, like, I don't know if it's discriminating.
Well, aren't you discriminating? You're saying essentially.
Discriminating that economy.
You're saying that Sergio's a brain surgeon and he works 8-hour day, and Andy's flipping burgers at McDonald's the same number of hours. And these three up there say that you guys should be paid the same. Isaiah's for discriminating. He's saying someone should be paid more than the other.
I'm working harder than you.
Like the harder you're working, like the more you get paid.
I work harder than you.
Because if you get paid the same, there's no incentive to. Like, there's no real reason for you to try hard.
That's why I'm with my fellow teammates.
Yeah, but according to Karl Marx, it should be the value of your labor. I mean, someone's going to be hungry. Someone needs to provide that service. Someone may have some brain deficits, someone's gonna need that surgery. If you're working the same number of hours and you're both working equally hard at your job, you know, he's okay with discriminating on the pay. These three want them being paid the same.
But then the ones that are paying are gonna be like,
Hang on, stay one at a time. Go ahead, sir.
like the people that are paying are gonna be like pretty much ruling everything since they have like more power.
Well, no, they said initially there will be a dictatorship of the proletariat, but eventually there will be no government, because everyone will work according to his ability and receive according to his need, according to the Communist Manifesto. So I just want to know, would you buy into Karl Marx's theory there?
Nah.
Isaiah said absolutely not. You're saying, Serge, no.
Nope. Nope.
What were you saying, Alex?
No. Sounds good.
I believe in discrimination and that cause in that matter.
Okay, so you're for discrimination on the salary?
Yes.
Would anyone else be aligned with the three up here, but they want equalization of pay?
Because Mike's lazy, that's why.
Nobody else?
What? Oh.
Yeah, but not today.
So, the characteristics of a communist economy. So the first one would be role of the Communist Party. In any communist-run nation, the Communist Party holds decision-making power in both the government and the economy, which would make it centrally planned. And then point number two, central planning. Government officials plan and supervise production in factories, farms, and stores. The 5-year plan, which was the centrally planned government's way, like a plan for the next 5 years, so that's why it's called 5-year plan, plays a key role in this economy. This plan sets economic goals that dictate where to emphasize growth, either in industry or agriculture, and what each factory and farm should produce. Collectivization. Collective or state ownership of the means of production is one pillar of communism. Collectivization is a process of merging small private farms into large government-owned agricultural enterprises. And the last one is state ownership. Industrial enterprises, transportation, and other parts of the economy are also state-owned.
So it sounds like the state pretty much dictates everything, right? It answers the three economic questions, which are what?
What it produces.
How to produce it, who's going to buy it.
And who gets to consume what's produced? Very good.
The Soviet Union, the 5-year plans, social policies, corporate reforms, and the transitions to a free market.
The 5-year plans. A series of 5-year plans were used to organize and run the Soviet economy, all under the supervision of one large economic planning agency called Gosplan. The first 5-year plan from 1928 to 1933 demanded collectivization of agriculture and higher production of chemical, petroleum, and steel. They also emphasized heavy industry. The aftermath of this came at the cost of scarce consumer goods. Food and goods were being rationed and much more.
Why do you think, Arrhenius, that the Soviet Union, the central planners, decided to focus on major industrial output as opposed to allowing the market to cater to the consumers?
Because at that time, it was the Industrial Revolution, right?
No, this is post-World War II.
So after World War II?
Well, I should say pre- and post-World. Industrial Revolution is pretty much...
When they switched from farms to factories. And
they were trying to, like, let's say, catch up to other countries, like, trying to have more, like I said, steel and petroleum, because that's, like, something used to produce, like, cars.
Mechanization.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, social policies of communism. The Soviet Union gave its citizens free education, medical care, and even used summer camps. So that's in close relation to the socialist economies. And the party officials, however, got vacation bonuses, cars, and money bonuses. This was the reason why communism failed, because they treated officials better when it was supposed to be a classless society.
You saying it didn't work?
No. That's why many of them crumbled, or they're moving toward free market economies.
So they're not all equal then? And they weren't all equal in the
No.
Soviet Union?
No. So if you're like an athlete or an official, they would like treat you better than the average person.
So essentially, we're all equal in the Soviet Union, it's just some are more equal than others.
Yeah.
So Gorbachev reforms. Many things changed under Mikhail Gorbachev's leadership. For example, under Perestroika, the local farm and factory managers got more power. This led to strikes, unhappy bureaucrats, food shortages, overall worse conditions. His leadership ended when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991.
So would it be safe to say that Mikhail Gorbachev saw the writing on the wall, that their centrally planned economy had basically failed, it was going belly up, and he tried to help in the transition to a market economy, because he knew that was the only salvation for the Russian people?
Transition to a free market. With the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, Russia has been in a constant transition to a free market. A key component of this transition has been privatization of the return of nationalized enterprise to private ownership. However, Russia's economy is in a state of turmoil because they lack strong leadership in order to get a free market economy.
Let me just tell you what you won't read in the textbook, but what has really happened in the Soviet Union, or what used to be the Soviet Union, now Russia. Basically what has really happened is the Russian people, sadly, have never, ever had freedom. The first time they actually got to elect someone was Boris Yeltsin in 1991, and they did not know how to deal with democracy. If you've never had freedom, and you have no history or basis in freedom, it is really difficult to keep a free society. That's why one of the reasons we spend so much education on our youth is we want them to understand what? The Republic, how to maintain civil liberties, civil rights, freedoms. The poor Russians didn't know how to deal with it, and so the things that did flourish in the Soviet Union were the former KGB, which are the elite espionage group, and the Russian mafia. And sadly, those are the two groups that basically gobbled up all the state-run industries. So that's why Vladimir Putin today, he was the former head of the KGB in Moscow. And the Russian mafia, as some of you may know, pretty much owns all the industry in Russia. And so the poor Russian people are still left out in the cold. No pun intended, I know Russia's cold, but that's really what happened, sadly. But then you'll never read that in the textbook, folks.
This is what, like, just some points about China. So it was the Great Leap Forward, which is a 5-year plan, and Deng Xiaoping, which was the leader after Mao Zedong and his reforms.
So China. Mao Zedong, the founder of the People's Republic of China, was a Marxist. Mao believed in Marxist theory that a workers' revolt would lead to communism. He believed the peasantry would be the key to communist revolution in China. Mao Zedong put heavy emphasis on technical and scientific education, and he assigned workers to these fields, and they had little say in the matter.
The Great Leap Forward. The Great Leap Forward was a 5-year plan to attempt to modernize China. Collective farms were brought together to form a commune. These communes were lead and overseen by party officials. Workers received the same reward no matter how much they produced. So there was few incentives to work hard. The Great Leap Forward ended up being disaster, followed by severe famine.
And again, it was kind of why I wanted that as the openers, to kind of get your insight as to what would it be like whether you worked harder or had greater ingenuity or used technology, you didn't get rewarded for it. How would that affect you as an individual and your community and society? The other thing that you don't read in the textbook is millions of Chinese died because of this ridiculous Great Leap Forward that Mao Zedong. But no one could say anything. If you said anything bad about Mao, they would kill you and they would go after your family. As you know, Mao Zedong is estimated to kill anywhere between 60 and 80 million people. The travesty of it all is most of those were his own people. And some were through out-and-out war, some were through really terrible plans like this, And some were done through the secret police, taking out enemies.
Deng Xiaoping's reforms. When Deng Xiaoping came into power, he implemented a lot of reforms. Deng's program of the four modernizations aimed to improve agriculture, industry, science and technology, and defense. He also led China away from the centrally planned economy to a free market economy, and he also invited foreign investors to China, which led to China's current state.
Which is interesting because China is like its own creature. It's really bizarre. It has this rocking economy. It's got market-based, free enterprise components, but at the same time, the government is a totalitarian regime ruled by just a few people. I mean, it's bizarre. It's a creature we haven't really encountered before.
So other communist nations. In Cuba, Fidel Castro led a revolution to overthrow the corrupt ruler that was Fulgencio Batista. The Soviet Union supported Castro, and in 1961, he declared himself a Marxist. Cuba depended heavily on Soviet economic aid. As a result, the fall of the Soviet Union caused an economic crisis in Cuba. Communism also spread in Southeast Asian countries of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia during the mid-1970s.
And most of that spread was due large part to China, because China is the center, the hegemony power of Southeast Asia. That's why the only countries that haven't been touched by China's communist influences are South Korea and Japan, largely because who's kind of influenced them? It's
North Korea?
the United States, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.